What do you think of when you hear the words South Africa? Many Americans think of wild animals and safaris. Some of us may have heard of Nelson Mandela, apartheid, or Ladysmith Black Mambazo. The fact is that most of us don't know much about this country. It is far away and historically has had closer ties with Europe than with the United States. Hello and welcome to another Commercial Service Market Brief. Today we'll take you to South Africa to explore business opportunities there and to meet my colleagues who will help you find them. And they exist in almost every industry. And when a U.S.-South Africa Free Trade Agreement is approved by Congress, doing business there will be easier than ever. There are many things to discover about this country of 43 million people. One of them is its political and economic ties to the rest of the continent. In particular, South Africa is a springboard into the countries that comprise Southern Africa. So get ready to add to your vocabulary SACU, SADC, and AGOA. Here to explain is our Senior Commercial Officer in Johannesburg, Johnny Brown.
Let's take SACU first. I mentioned SACU, which is the Southern African Customs Union. There's 5 countries in that union. Namibia, Botswana, Lesotho, Swaziland, and South Africa. South Africa, of course, being the largest in that area. They are negotiating with us now on a bilateral basis to have a free trade agreement that will allow freer access to each other's market. Right now, under AGOA. AGOA is a legislation that's part of the Trade Act of 2000, which allowed South African companies to export unilaterally to the U.S. And have the benefits unilaterally coming into the U.S. The free trade agreement will allow a bilateral access to each other's market. Under AGOA, there's 6,400 products that a company can bring into the U.S. duty-free after you go through the appropriate licensing process. It is an opportunity for us to strengthen that part for those 5 countries that are part of SACU. But we're the giant of SADC, if you will. SADC being the Southern Africa Development Community. South Africa is what most of these countries hope to grow up to be. It's a strong economy, as I said earlier. It's sitting right in the heart of the SADC area. For instance, if you're going to travel to another part of SADC, you must come into South Africa first. And you can get to almost every place, not just in the region, but worldwide from South Africa. So the infrastructure is there. The place is, the stage is set for increased trade and opportunities through SADC, through SACU, and through the AGOA program.
Chances are that the Ford driven in Mozambique was assembled in South Africa with parts made in Detroit. The automotive sector is just one of the major growth sectors in South Africa. But as Johnny Brown will tell us, there are many others.
Each year, we do a publication called Our Country Commercial Guide, in which we list the best prospects list. On that list for this year, we'll have industry sectors like safety and security. We'll have aerospace and defense. We'll have medical equipment. We have 5 of them listed as our best prospects this year. But they don't just stop at that particular point. There are growth sectors also that's not a part of our best prospects. Best prospects are limited to resources and how much we have to actually participate. Because each one of the best prospects, we try and have a program set aside for that particular industry. Now, the growth sectors are things like the automotive sectors in this country. It is areas like plastic production. It is manufacturing sectors. Those are the growth areas. And what I would really, my Christmas wish I would like to have is enough people to explore all of the industry sectors that has opportunity in this particular market. It's a growing place. It is a place where the return on investment here in Africa, or all of Africa, if you include South Africa, is about 28% per annum on your dollar invested. National, around the world, worldwide, it's about 8% return on your investment. So that, if nothing else, if all of the infrastructure was not here, if all of the other things were not here, the return on investment warrants a person looking at this market as a potential future growth market for them.
Next, we'll hear briefly about 3 top prospects for U.S. companies: aerospace and defense, healthcare equipment and technology, and information and communications technology. The briefings are provided by our sector experts in Johannesburg.
The industrial safety and security sector is a very promising niche for the U.S. exporter wishing to gain access to this important market. It covers scanning systems, biometrics, smart and secure trade lanes, and a variety of other peripheral services and products. The one single important project for the future, which is due to be rolled out by the end of this year, is CSI, Containerization Security Initiative, with which the South African government expects to be spending $350 million on the procurement of infrastructure and systems to ensure that containers shipped to the States via the Port of Durban will meet U.S. security requirements. This is the one big project that we're looking at. We're actively supporting U.S. involvement here, and we believe that this is in fact a captive market for U.S. exporters and service providers. Other ongoing business in the South African safety and security field on the industrial side is that of access control, scanning systems, biometrics, and particle analysis. And procurement is an offering by government, parastatal, and private companies. The SA Police Services, for instance, is considering the creation of a cutting-edge SWAT unit, which will require up to Gen 3 equipment and hardware. And this is clearly a sector where the US supply can also come in.
The South African government spends about 8.5% of its GDP on healthcare. This is equivalent to approximately $10 billion of the national budget. The private sector consumes more than 60% of the total national health spend. Industry analysts estimate healthcare expenditure to increase by about 7% to 13% per annum over the next 3 years. The South African medical equipment and devices market is extremely diverse. It ranges from disposable medical devices to major capital items. This market is estimated at $253 million at acquisition price.
One of the key changes in the South African government is its commitment to a horizontal licensing structure. What this means is that instead of licensing fixed lines, satellite, cellular, separately, the South African government will issue a general infrastructure license that will not specify any particular preference or technology. A similar approach would be taken with the services licenses eventually, creating a less restrictive, more equitable, and more competitive environment for all players. CS South Africa, Commercial Services South Africa, cover about 14 countries in the SADC region. Other SADC states that are showing some potential in the ICT market are the DRC, or the Democratic Republic of Congo, Mozambique, and Angola.
Extensive research on these sectors, plus many others, is available on this site or by calling your local Export Assistance Center at 1-800-USA-TRADE. Another strength of our commercial service, South Africa, and elsewhere in the world, is the ability to find reliable buyers.
At this stage, I think a company would do well for itself if it actually planned a strategy. And if they choose to go through an agent or distributor here, make sure you choose that partner well. Choose that partner with us so we can walk you through where the do's and don'ts are or the reputation of that company. Let us be intimately involved with that planning process from the beginning. It is much easier to steer you in the right direction if we started initially with you, as opposed to coming in at some other point to try and save you and getting out of trouble. There's some of the major U.S. companies that are here. Well, some of them are teaming with industry sectors now. For instance, in the aerospace industry, there's one U.S. company that's taking a minority share in the aerospace and developing a product not only for the aerospace market in the U.S. but worldwide. There's companies that are now starting in the automotive industry. That's why I targeted that as one of the growth industries, who just decided they're going to manufacture a line of automobiles here, not for the U.S. market necessarily, but for the world market. There are several that are here that are doing the manufacturing of autos now, and the quality that are coming out of here is running head and shoulders above that which has been manufactured in other markets. I look at those of that nature, and you look at the dollar exchange rate. People are still coming, and why are they coming? They come in because they look beyond the short term. They're looking at the long term in terms of South Africa being a trading partner far into the future. I don't want this to sound as though it's utopia. I don't want it to sound as if it's a market without problems. I do want it to sound as though it's a market with a vast potential for future growth. Not a market for selling into, but a market for marketing your product into, and there's a heck of a difference between the two. But of all the things that I've run into in my 3 years of being down here and working the Southern African market, and particularly South African market, there is no reason I've found yet that a committed, dedicated U.S. company cannot be successful in this market. And I'm sure that's not always the case in every market that I've served in. But within Southern and within South African market, there is no reason that I can think of that a U.S. company can't be successful here.
We hope you enjoyed our brief tour of the South Africa business landscape, and we'll take Johnny Brown up on his invitation to visit him and his colleagues in Johannesburg and Cape Town. From all of us at the U.S. Commercial Service, we hope to see you again soon on another Commercial Service Market Brief.